Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Pratiksha Bhadoria, and I, along with Dhiren sir, Kalpana, we are the team of Invent Model, and we are here to discuss some more topics of Informatica MDM Cloud SaaS. So the agenda for the today's discussion is explain all the steps involved in creating Mapplet from CDI. That we already discussed yesterday. Call that Mapplet using DQ rules and integrate this with the MDM Cloud SaaS. So can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So I'll be explaining this. I'll explain all the steps involved in creating Mapplet from CDI. So what are the steps of creating Mapplet from CDI? The first step is, first we need to have an access to Informatica Cloud Data Integration, that is CDI services. After that, we need to log in into Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services, that is the IICS. Next step is you navigate to the data integration services. And then you have to select the access from the left navigation panel. So these are the steps that we have to follow. And we'll, like right now, we don't have the screenshot of it, but we have attached the screenshot in the later slide. So you'll get to know. The step two is we have to create a new maplet. The first step of creating the new maplet is click on new, then choose maplet from the options. Then for that, every maplet has to be provided with a name and description. Select the appropriate folder where the maplet has to be stored and then click create. So this is how the maplet gets created. Now step 3 is we have to define the input and output parameters. So we have to drag and drop the input transformations onto the canvas. There's we have this option of drag and drop, so we don't have to manually enter the values. We can easily drag and drop an input transformation onto the canvas. Then define the input fields required for the maplet. The third step is add an output transformation and then define the output field. So we have defined the input fields and now we have defined the output fields for the maplet. Yes. Next slide, please. Now step 4 is after defining the maplet, the input and output values as well. The step 4 is now you have to define the transformation of the maplet. So transformation may include the expression transformation that apply calculations or transformation to the data, filter transformation that apply condition, filter the data, lookup transformation to fetch related data from another data set, aggregator transformation to perform aggregations like sum, count, etc., and the sorter transformation to basically sort the data. And second is you have to connect the input transformation to this transformation in the logical order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever transformations are given. So basically you have to connect them in the logic wise order as given here. Now, step 5 is configure transformation properties. So, the first step in configuring transformation properties is select each transformation and then configure properties like field mapping, expressions, and conditions. So, these will be available there. So, we have to configure these properties when we create the maplet. Next is verify that the data type match across transformations. This is very crucial because the data type should match across the transformation. Third is connect the final transformation to the output transformation. So after doing all of the configuring and the validation, you have to connect the final transformation to the output transformation. Step 6 is validate the maplet. So after connecting input, output transformations and configuring, after doing all of these things, you have to also check whether the maplet that is created is right or not according to all the set of rules that are there. So you have to validate the maplet. So first is click on the validate button to check for errors. Second step is resolve any issues by adjusting field mappings or transformation properties. So just in case if there are some error occurs, so we try to do the R&D whether we have to change some mapping or the transformation properties, like hit and trial we have to do in order to get the solution to the error. Third step is ensure that the maplet is correctly processing input and generating the right output. Yes, move on to the next slide, please. Now, step 7. So, after all of these steps are done, the validation is done. Now, you have to save and publish the maplet. So, for saving, you have to click on Save to store the changes. And for publish, you have to publish to make the maplet available for use in mappings. Step 8. Use of maplet in a mapping. Sorry. So to create a new mapping in CDI, we have to drag and drop the maplet from the assets pane into the mapping. This would be shown into the screenshot that is there. I will show you that. Map the input fields to the source and output fields to the target. So this is how it's done. After that, validate and save the mapping. All of the steps are done. Now your maplet is processed in a mapping. Step 9. Test the maplet in a mapping task. So after the maplet is actually processed in a mapping, you have to test the maplet whether it is working fine or not. So first step is create a mapping task using the mapping where the maplet is used. Define the source and target connections. Third is run the task to ensure that the maplet works as expected. If there is some changes, then we have to do our R&D and we have to fix using the log errors. Check the logs for any errors or issues. Yeah, can we go to the next slide, please? So, ideally, the conclusion is by following all the above previous steps, we can create and use a maplet in Informatica MDM Cloud SaaS using the CDI. Maplets are basically reusable objects. So if we want to make use of maplets here, so maplets help modularize reusable transformational logic that can be used in different apps that are present in Informatica IICS, and it helps in improving the maintainability and efficiency in data integration workflows. So, like here, earlier we were discussing this. So, under the new asset, we have mappings, maplets, task flows, and components. So, here, like if we want to create a mapping, we can select the mapping and we can proceed with that. When we have to create the maplet, then it would have a different screen that will open up. So when we choose the maplet, so such kind of a screen open up. Like for Mapplet also, different four options are available. Yes. So in the screen, basically, this is the screen of CDI data integration, where Mapplet is shown on the screen, where Mapplet has input, then expression, and then output. The incoming field, the input basically, the incoming field is basically the first name that we have provided, and output is basically the full name that is here written, full name underscore CDI. So basically the input name and the first name and the last name, the combination of both is the full name. So expression is actually evaluating that, and output we are getting as full name underscore CDI. Yes. Yeah, Kalpana, now you can explain this. Thank you.
So yes, we have a second point like how we call the mapped data created using data quality rules in MDM SaaS. So now we go for that. In as we know in MDM says like master data management software as a service, we know the full form of that. Like when data quality rules are created and executed, they often generate maplet in Informatica Cloud Data Quality, or we can say data integration. So these Maplets are reusable data transformation logic that help in cleansing, standardize, and validate the data. So these are the thing functions that we do in the Maplets. So now question we have, how to call the Maplet created by data quality rules in MDM SaaS. So there we have a 4 to 5 steps for the creating the Maplets in the data quality rules. So first step we have like verify the data quality rules. For that we have to follow the some points, like we have to first log in into the Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services, then navigate to the data quality or MDM data quality rules we have. And then after that we have to check the existing rules applied to the data sets. So these are the first step to verify the data quality rules. After that we move to the second point where we find the generated maplets. For that, we have to go to the cloud data integration. After that, we open the mapping designer. After that, open the mapping designer, we have to locate the maplets that were created by the data quality rule specification. Then we have to, these maplets have naming convention matching the rule names. So first we provide the name for the naming convention for the matching rules of the names. After that, we move to the third step where we use the maplets in the new mapping. For that, we have to open, first we have to open the CDI. In that CDI, we have option of new mapping to go for that mapping and drag and drop the maplet from the list where available transformation have. So now after that drag and drop the maplet, we have to connect in our source and target to process the data as per the defined data quality rules. So this is the third step. After that, we have to run and validate the mapping. For that, first we have to save the mapping and validate it for the errors. If we have any error, then first we have to resolve that errors, then we have to save the mapping. After that, we run the mapping and review the output logs to ensure the data quality transformation that are applied correctly or not. So for that, we use the run the mapping and review the output logs. After that, we have to schedule or we can say automate the maplets. For that, we have to use the task flow that are available. So we can schedule and automate the execution of the mapping that are included in the maplets. So these are the 5 steps that we have to follow to call the maplets that are created by the data quality rules in MDM SaaS. After that, in that screen snapshot, we seen that we have a like full name, as Pratiksha ma'am said in the earlier slide. We have a full name, and we also have some city, country name, first name, and last name. In the property, we have to put we apply the maplet for the full name. In the properties, we can see like in the basics, basic and advanced we applied for the advanced properties where we can have a rule association name, status, description, rule specification updated, and rule specification columns we have. After that, we created by the rule specification combination name. These are the maplets we have. In that maplet, first we have to enable the rule association. Then we have to run the rule association if all input are field are empty. Then we have some columns like applied field, specification, name, and description. So these are the some mandatory columns that we have to follow for that. After that, like for the maplet, we have the input field and output field as well. And in between them, we have a mapping where we apply the logic. So these are the points that we follow for the maplets. Now I would like to call Dhiren sir, who will explain the integrate data quality rules with the customer 360 in MDM Cloud SaaS.
Yeah, thanks, Kalpana. So, move on to next slide. Okay, integrating data quality EQ rules in the customer safety solutions with the master data management cloud SaaS typically involves ensuring data consistency, accuracy, completeness, and integrity throughout the entire data lifecycle. So here is the step-by-step approach how we can integrate the DQ rules in the customer 360 with MDM Cloud SaaS. So means first we need to define data quality rules, then configure DQ rules in the business 360, and then we can test these DQ rules in the customer 360. Next. Okay. So define data quality rules. So basically it establishes DQ rules to ensure that the data is accurate, complete, consistent, and compliant. So it's like we do this for the data accuracy, data completeness, data consistency, uniqueness of data, conformity of the data, or timelines. Timeline is so data accuracy means is the data correct, and up to date means we validate whether the data is correct or accurate or it is up to date, or completeness meaning are all necessary attributes filled up, or is there any gap. So consistency means meaning we need to verify that if data is consistent across all the environments or platforms. And then uniqueness, are there any duplicate records? Do we have any duplicate or we have the unique record? Conformity, is the data in the expected format, meaning the data format is correct or not? And timeline means is the data up to date and the relevant as per our standard. So example of a common DQ rules in the customer context: name should not contain special characters, email should follow a standard email format, address should be valid and follow consistent format. There shouldn't be any duplicate based on the key attributes like like any, if there are key attributes, we shouldn't have the duplicacy on this. Like if there are email, we shouldn't have any duplicate email. Otherwise, it is wrong and it will be sent to the wrong people. And similarly for phone number. So whatever unique attributes are there, those shouldn't be duplicate, right? There shouldn't be any error. So for that reason, we apply these DQ rules so that we have a clean and correct data. Next slide. So means like so as we saw that in the previous systems we had configured DQ rules. Now those DQ rules we need to integrate in the MDM system so that this gets applied across our MDM applications. So for that one, the previously configured DQ rules we need to integrate in the Business 360. So this Business 360 is basically it is configuration part we do in the Business 360, and then we use whatever configured in the Customer 360 or other like 360 application services. So how to configure this? First, we need to log into the Business 360 and then navigate to the Explore page, and from there we can set up the create or search or edit page there, and then we need to create the entity for input and output fields. Like we need to create the pages there, and then choose the field which we want to apply the DQ. So now we apply those specific DQ rules in some particular field. So choose that field, and then we can go to the data quality and then advance. And now we can click on the plus sign to associate this the previously created DQ rules. And so for that one, we can enable the rule association and then choose that DQ rules. And then after that, we need to map those input and output fields. So from those, we can choose the input fields, whatever input fields we have there, and then we can choose the output field as well, where we want to see our like the DQ rules get applied, and then we need to save and validate. Move on to the next. So means we can see here the first screen is showing how we have designed this page layout. And in the second screen, we can see that how we have associated the DQ rule in the respective field. So in this case, the full name we had in the full name we had concatenated the first name and last name, and we are displaying that in the full name. So we had used one Mapplet, and that Mapplet was doing this concatenation, and that we have used here. So this is what we can see. So we can see this. We have used these two input fields here, first name, last name, and in the bottom we see output, right? Output. So there we have used the full name. So like this, we can do this calling of the DQ rules. Move on to the next. So then the final part is we need to like see if those whatever DQ rules we have configured, it is working fine or not. So if for that one we can go to the customer 360 and navigate to explore page. If the page is not already set up here, we can set up that previously created the page which we created in the business 360, and then we can open the huge entity pages, and then we can like see if the configured DQ rules are getting applied properly, or whatever we have created, that is coming properly. That's all. Thank you.